The NBA was kind enough to ask me for a Victor Wembanyama breakdown over on the NBA app. And something struck me while I was watching this extraordinary French teenager. Being big isn't enough anymore. Now, as you'll see in that NBA app profile, I'm not saying Wembanyama isn't a no-brainer pick at the top of the draft. Heck, I'm as excited about him as anyone. But I do think it's more complicated than it used to be for someone with such a big size advantage. The NBA's original dynasty, the Minneapolis Lakers, was led by George Mikan's two-way dominance. He was a titan back then, 6'10" barefoot and 250 pounds or so, and he could protect the paint while dominating with low-post scoring. Wilt Chamberlain was the first mega prospect in league history, standing 7'1" with a 7'8" wingspan, and again, he was a two-way force, leading the league in scoring as a rookie while protecting the paint on defense. Then came Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, maybe the best prospect ever. He was about 7'2" barefoot, which made him a shot-blocking machine with a nearly unstoppable weapon with his back to the basket. Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal, Tim Duncan, and many more followed in this lineage of historically great prospects who used their size to combine all-star defense with all-star offense to win MVPs. That's worth saying again. Their size gave them an immediate pathway for success on defense and offense. But that's not how it works anymore. Offenses aren't run through the low post today. Teams don't clog the paint to battle over offensive boards. Even 7'1" so-called unicorns can't easily punish smaller players in the post. The game is just played differently and officiated differently, and that's drastically changed the idea of an effective low-post big man. Of course, all these Hall of Famers I've mentioned have skills beyond just being big and mobile. That's what made them such great prospects in the first place. And Wembanyama is no different. It's actually his offensive skill that has people wondering if he has the highest ceiling of any player in basketball history. He has the ball handling skills of a wing, and I don't think there's ever been a 7-footer who can move and dribble like this, let alone someone who is 7'3" barefoot. Look at how low to the ground he keeps the dribble. And despite his size, this is a tight crossover and then a quick pass when doubled to hit an open man like he's a giant guard. Right now, he probably uses his ball handling the most to set up his jumper. And that outside shot is another skill he possesses that someone like Shaq or even Kareem never really had to worry about. As I discuss in his profile, he shoots these confidently on the move and off the dribble, but this is actually a huge swing skill in today's game. He's been under 30% on threes in France, and the NBA line is a touch longer, so landing at 32% from downtown versus 36% will make a massive difference, let alone reaching the elite 40% territory that demands so much defensive attention. Think about how different these skills are from other all-time big men prospects. Duncan's post-game made him a good offensive player when he stepped on an NBA floor. Yes, he was 20 months older than Victor will be when he debuts in the league, but a lack of shooting and spacing made the post-up more viable back then, and big men pounded smaller players closer to the hoop without flailing on contact to draw a whistle before a shot. Wemby does not have that kind of offensive presence right now, and he'll likely add some strength over the next few years, but he's far away from abusing mismatches around the basket with power. Even as he grows, his long frame makes it unlikely he'll ever be a real power player around the hoop, but his height does help in three specific areas for today's game. The first is obvious. It gives him a high release point on his shot. This is the Kevin Durant corollary, where if you're a good shooter, the high release point makes it difficult to take away sweet spots. But the thing is, we don't know if Wemby's going to be a good shooter, let alone a great one. The The second area his height helps is with passing, because in today's spaced out NBA, having the vision to see over the top makes these passes easier. This is yet another skill Wemby has that in the old days would make him really difficult to double down low, but without putting a ton of pressure on defenses, we might see more of his passing as a high post hub, much like Bam Adebayo or Draymond Green. This elbow passing is valuable, but it's not the same degree of playmaking that centerpieces like Nikola Jokic or LeBron James provide when they force defenses to react to their scoring. The last area his height should help in today's game is with off-ball finishing around the rim. More space means it's harder to take away lob threats, and while Wemby doesn't have the springiness of peak Anthony Davis, his size does make him a natural lob target. This is also where Victor has redefined the geometry of a basketball floor, with an enormous dunk radius and a stride length that looks like Gru hit the court with a shrink ray. This is, of course, also what makes him such a great defender, and I think this will translate right away, but unlike, say, Kareem's giant shot blocking, Wemby will have to maintain mobility on the perimeter as he matures. He actually reminds me most of Kareem. He's slender and smooth despite towering over most opponents, and there's a studiousness to both of them that makes me think Victor can grow and hone some of these skills in time. Of course, part of the intrigue here is that Kareem would not have spent so much time developing the skyhook today, but would likely adapt skills for the perimeter, and that's exactly what Wembanyama has tried to do. These ball skills are captivating because they create the possibility, even if it's unlikely, that he could become some supersized version of Kevin Durant down the line. I think Wemby has a great floor and a huge theoretical ceiling, so as long as he's healthy, he's as close to a surefire good NBA player as we could probably find in a 19-year-old today. But there's a lot of room between good, great, and someone who pushes the limits of the game to new heights, like Kareem did en route to 6 MVPs. I, for one, think he has a long way to go to be a star on offense, but because he's so unique and gifted, he's essentially forging a new archetype for modern big men, and I'm excited to see if he can reach those new heights. I get into more detail in that NBA app profile on Wemby, specifically his defense and the nuances of his game right now. I'll link to it below. There are also no comments on the app, so feel free to let me know your thoughts on that video here and any other thoughts you have on Wemby and the other great prospects ever. Hope you enjoyed both videos, and as always, that you are having a great day.